thanks for coming. Why don't we start by just give an overview of who you are, kind of what your role is, what your recent history's been.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Brian Bagdasarian. There's 11 letters in that last name. I think there are 5 vowels. Fun fact. I joined HubSpot about a year and a half ago through the acquisition of Motion AI, which was chatbot development platform. The time we were actually bought, we were the largest out there. We had 34,000 users and 73,000 bots built on the platform. To put some perspective around that, that is bigger than anybody even today.
Okay. That
is still out there. Many chats are getting right around there, but we were huge and we were a 4-person team.
Yeah.
So that's insane. We didn't sleep. But HubSpot came to us and it was a good fit for the two companies, and I joined on, and David, who was the founder of the company, came on. He now runs bots, and I went more to the educational and theory side to carry over some of the work that I've been doing. Mm-hmm. And I've been the head of conversational growth strategy for the last year and a half or so. Really kind of just trying to teach people how to have conversations and how to think about them in a logical and programmatic way, but mm-hmm. that's still very accessible.
Okay, well, let's start there. It seems like your passion is really breaking down language conceptually and programmatically as it relates to application in messaging. Which is,
right.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you think about something like ordering a pizza.
Sure.
Right? When you order a pizza, there's a whole bunch of parts to that process. It's pretty complex when you think about it. You've got to figure out where they are, who they are, what they want, what they need, how long does it take, all that stuff. But if you think about it from a very simple standpoint, that macro conversation is made up of these micro conversations. And micro conversations are really powerful because they have a beginning, middle, and an end. When they have a beginning, middle, and an end, you can then measure how many were started, how many reached the middle point, and how many reached the end point. If you can measure it, you can determine success from it. So think about this. What's the first thing that when you call up a pizza place and you say, I need to order a pizza, what do they say to you?
They'll ask you if it's for carryout or delivery.
Why do they ask you that?
Well, the answer to that question dictates the next sequence of questions.
Right. So you say, hi, I'd like to order a pizza, or I'd like to place an order. They say, is it for delivery or carryout? You say carryout. They don't have to ask you where you are.
Sure.
So the end of that conversation, that micro conversation, is the determiner of is it for delivery or carryout.
Yep.
If you said it was for delivery, then they have to go to a different part of the conversation, which is, okay, can I have your address or your zip code or whatever it may be? But if it's for carryout, you don't have to have that conversation, so you move down to the next step, which is taking the order. These are all micro conversations. If I said hello and you said,
hey, how's it going?
It's going great. My name's Brian.
Yeah, I'm Mike.
Mike, these are conditioned responses.
Sure.
That's what we want to mimic, are these conditioned responses, because they sound natural. But once I have your name and you have my name, I can reuse that information later on.
Yep.
And that makes it sound personal.
Sure.
And if I'm coming at you in a cheerful mood and you come back in a cheerful mood, we're staying in a relatively cheerful mood. We are matching the sentiment for each other. But as we go through the process and we start to ask questions, and you ask me a question and I give you answers, there's really only 8 ways you can ask a question. Who, what, where.
Like literally? Okay.
Literally 8 ways.
Yeah, okay.
Who, what, where, when, why, how, which, and yes, no, which is can I, will I, should I, or do I, for instance. That's it. There's literally no other way to ask a question. And every one of those, with some variations, and you can get more complex if you want to, has a kind of answer that you're looking for. And it's this idea of treating bot building not as a technical process, but as a virtual HR process.
Elaborate on that.
Okay, well, you've hired someone before, right?
Yep.
So before you go and hire somebody, and we're talking relatively low level, right? Low level person. What would you, before that person comes in, what do you have to put together for that person's first day?
An orientation packet.
Yeah, information on the company,
sure.
Ways to talk about the company, what the company does, where it's located, how long it's been around, all those things, right? Yep. Standard answers,
sure.
Essentially, standard information. Okay, now when that person who, let's say they're going to be manning your live chat, it's a real person we're talking about here. The next thing you probably do is teach them how to answer common questions.
Sure.
Take the standard information that they have available, and then here's how to answer these questions. Here's the steps to answer these different types of questions, but the information fundamentally standardized. It doesn't mean that it's always the same answer. It just means that those answers are not changing because the wind's blowing differently.
Sure, there's basic kind of templates around which the answers are built. Yep.
Then you get into optimizing. You probably teach them how to best and most effectively answer that. If it's on a live chat, don't send them over 4 pages of typed information.
Sure.
In fact, it's one of the ways that's really easy to grab someone's email address. A lot of chatbots out there, a lot of people that in live chat, the first thing they do is it's like, "Hi, what's your email?"
Sure.
No, I don't want to give you my email. I don't have any trust in you. I don't
know
you.
You feel like a form masquerading as a conversation.
Right. That's just and we'll come back to that. Instead, if you said, hey, I need some information on the company. Can you tell me what you guys do? Sure, I can actually send you over some information on this. What's your email address?
Sure.
That's a pretty natural way to get your email address, but I now just have gotten it from you, and you're going to give it to me because
you want the information, and
it's a logical way for me to deliver it to you because it's too long to give you right then.
Sure.
Okay. Now, if it was a 1 or 2 sentence answer, I can just shoot it to you, right back over in the live chat. Or if I already have your email address, I might just send it to you in a link, and I can actually continue that conversation on that new page, depending on where you are. Right? Make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So now you have this new hire. You've taught them the basic information on the company, the standard stuff. You've taught them how to answer within the context of a given point of a conversation. You've instructed them on when to switch what channel they're delivering information on, from live chat to email or whatever it may be. Would you expect that person to remember everything about every person they ever talked to forever?
Oh yeah, certainly not.
No.
Right?
So what would you expect them to be able to do?
Document the information in a way that's easily accessible.
Like in a
CRM?
Right.
Yeah.
You teach them how to use a CRM.
Yep.
So when they get more information, they can do that. And also to access the information that is already had.
Sure.
Right? And then you probably want to teach them how to be empathetic, how to be human, how to deal with somebody that might be upset or match somebody if they're very happy.
Sure.
Right? Well, that's the basis of scope. That are the principles of conversational growth strategy. Those are also the principles of inbound.
Now, SCOPE is an acronym.
It's an acronym. Standardize, contextualize, optimize, personalize, and empathize. It's the exact same way that you would take somebody normal, a human, through that training process.
You're going to do the same thing with a bot.
Right.
What percentage of conversations a standard organization has, or questions that a standard organization would field, do you think can be translated into?
I would say that you can probably get 90% of the most common ones.
Yeah.
Conversational growth is not just about building chatbots. It's about building a better way to develop a one-to-one relationship with somebody that is based on trust, that is based on empathy, that is based on basically humanity.
Yep.
Just doesn't mean that the other side of the conversation is always going to be an actual human.
There's a spectrum of chat-related services out there, chat-related apps out there. The concepts that you've just articulated, how well are the current products, options that are on the market, integrating those concepts, enabling organizations to succeed? And how do you see that evolving in the short and medium term?
So if you notice, one of the things I didn't mention at all is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Because you don't need it. For the vast majority of conversations, you don't need AI. You just need to understand the conversational narrative, what you're trying to do. With that being said, HubSpot Conversations, a few other ones, ManyChat can do this, Drift can do it. You can take the information you're collecting and you can drop it into your CRM. That's a really big part of it. The rest of it has nothing to do with actually what you're using for a platform. It has to do with how you're using the platform.
What will serve, in your estimation, to differentiate these different applications, these options on the market as time progresses? If AI is not really required, how are they going to differentiate from each other?
The ability to integrate.
Okay.
The ability to create this idea of what we call a shared knowledge pool.
Yep.
So, have you ever called up a place, let's say you call 2 times,
and they don't remember the second
anything
call
about you. It would be the equivalent. It's like conversational face blindness.
Yep.
Imagine if in the morning you left your house, you kissed your wife goodbye, said, "Hey, I'm going to work." She goes, "Great, here you go." That was it. You recognize her. When you come home, she has no clue who you are.
Yeah.
That'd be frustrating, right? After a week, you'd be like, what the heck is going on here? Yet that seems to be acceptable for the vast majority of businesses, right? So how do you differentiate? I should never have to ask you a question twice. And the platform that lets me do that
Yep.
is the one that's going to win.
So the CRM underpinnings are super important.
It's not just CRM. It's also about having access to answers. It's not just about what they know about me.
Yep.
It's about how easily I can access the information that I need. Statistically speaking, 72-ish% of people do not care if they are getting their answer from a chatbot or from a live person, as long as they get their answer.
Okay.
In a reasonable period of time. Live chat, that's anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes.
Okay.
After 5 minutes, for the first time, so if I send you a message, if I wait more than 5 minutes, I'm starting to get ticked off.
Okay.
If we're in the middle of the conversation, I'm waiting more than 30 seconds or a minute, I'm starting to get ticked off.
Okay.
So time to live is that concept.
2 more questions. One, if you were a marketer being introduced, beginning to explore conversational marketing, where do you see the most opportunity looking forward for marketers?
Specific solutions.
Okay.
It's not building the next big platform.
Yep.
It's figuring out what, okay, let me break this down. Every business has business processes. So the first thing as a marketer, you gotta be able to figure out what is that business, that client business, what's their process look like? Then you gotta figure out where the bottleneck exists. Every business process has a point where it becomes dramatically inefficient. And that's the bottleneck. Figure out what conversation is had there. Map that conversation out. Can that be automated?
Sure.
What are the measurement points of that?
Yeah.
How can I simplify that? If you go to a business and say, listen, I can save you 50 man hours a month because we're going to automate just a specific point in your business, in this one business process,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big value prop.
Sure.
If I was a marketer, I would be concentrating on becoming an expert at understanding the client business's business process, and then be aiming to coach them through the process of sort of reverse engineering what that looks
Yeah,
like
what can
there.
be automated.
And once you do that, you can then build forward.
Cool. Last question.
Sure.
You're from Maine.
Yeah.
What is your favorite spirit to keep you warm on a cold Maine snowy night?
It'll keep me warm. That's a good one.
Fire in the fireplace, snow falling outside, and you're sipping on
a liter of Fireball. No, it's not that. No, actually, there's a company called Maine Craft Distilling.
Okay.
And they do this. It's called a botanical spirit. It's mostly carrots.
All right.
And it has the same proof as like a vodka. It is unbelievable.
Okay. You like how I just projected my own preconceived notions about what it's like to live in Maine. You're in a cabin with a fireplace, sipping on a warm drink, and it's snowing.
In the winter, you very likely are. In the
Right,
summer,
good.
you're on a boat doing it.
Nailed it.
But you know what I'm actually a huge fan of? Hard seltzer.
Okay.
I am telling you, there is nothing better than being able to drink a fizzy seltzer water that'll also get you lit.
Yeah, you get hydrated and.
Oh my God!
I mean,
it's fantastic. You know, you give me a sixer of black cherry hard seltzers, I am a happy, very confident man.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks for swinging in.
Of course,
Yeah.
man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. All right. Glad to have you.